and welcome. Eva Milton from Inner Image Hypnosis here. This hypnotic meditation, the mirage, is probably more hypnotic than meditational, even if nobody can tell what is what really. But what I can tell you is that you are about to listen to a surrealistic fantasy story that can transfer you safely into a deeply focused state to benefit from an extremely recovering relaxation. And if you let your fantasy go crazy, you'll get a really interesting experience. So, are you ready to relax? Because here we go now. ABC is of course a common beginning. And so is 1, 2, 3. And C, D, E, as it is the beginning of the scale in C major. But did you also know that by avoiding to look or refusing to not closing your eyes also can be a beginning? And those are only a couple of the thousands of ways you can begin something special by. For example, a hypnotic meditation. Or starting a new project that lets you engage in something that is of interest, even if it's not that common to associate it to hypnosis. But we do know that engagement creates focus. And focus is concentration. And concentration is an intense attention on a small area. And that creates a state we call hypnosis. But of course it's impossible to mention every possibility that can open a door to a fantastic preamble, a beginning of an interesting experience you haven't had yet, or perhaps not so interesting when you have. But not even you know about this yet, since we've just started. And things that have recently begun is in this case certainly before half an hour has passed. Or perhaps 3 minutes. But when it comes down to it, it can really create the illusion of quite a long time passing. Because there is for sure enough time to be able to add around 60 new experiences during each minute. So in only half an hour, you may have added 1,800 new experiences to what you know now. And that is such an amazing outcome that even half of them, or half the half, is totally satisfying. As you will still have added plenty of more experiences than when you quite recently heard ABC or 1, 2, 3. And that indicates that when this hypnotic meditation has come to an ending, you will be bringing with you plenty of new experiences. So by then, you will know lots of things that you don't know in this precise moment. And if this knowledge is brought to you by a letter in the mail, or downloaded in your head from an MP3 file, or in any other way, it's nevertheless going to work. So you might as well get started. Oh yes, there was another start during this beginning with the deepening tasks without having the answers to the mandatory voluntary ones. And the reason is that it would burden you with far too much work and effort to even consider scribbling the answers on a piece of paper, or typing on a computer. Every individual's every experience. And when it comes to an experience like this, however it will be for you, you neither need to know what the ordinary tasks are, nor the extra tasks in your homework. For understanding in real time how a hypnotic meditation feels from inside. And that's liberating, isn't it? So without having to deal with tasks that you are not up to, maybe you have or have not noticed if your teeth in the upper jaw are resting. Without contacting the level downstairs. Or if your body is making an autocorrection, convincing you that your jaws are feeling really comfortable. And that the jaw joints seem to be well lubricated, which is not even your homework. Because you didn't have any tasks that need your attention, did you? So, what could they be then? Those non-tasks. Could it be so that the real challenge is not even defined as a true challenge? But instead something truly wonderful on a completely different level. Much deeper inside. And mostly covered by hair, skin, and nails. Where the nails would serve as a kind of lid of protection. Protecting the big toes when bumping into a rock. or the fingertips of the pinkies maybe. And maybe you will find something really powerful underneath your skin, slightly above the navel. In a beautifully colored yellow area, where it usually feels extra nice to relax. And when relaxing right there, also have an inner knowing that this is the center of your personal power. But if you would have had nails covering your navel, would they have hindered that place from resting peacefully? When a yellow energy rotates clockwise there, round and round and round, as an invisible indication of some great resources that you have not made fully use of yet. Or would a small or large part of you just ignore all the meaningful nonsense talk and instead massage a mint green leather of stillness into your scalp, temples, and forehead? A mint green leather of stillness, now with a new formula, making all wrinkles from troubles to smooth out, like with a steam iron. And if you had heard this earlier, would you have chosen this as your alternative beginning to what was not mentioned at the ordinary start just a couple of minutes ago or a bit longer? You know, back then. Before you had even heard of something so extraordinary as a mint green leather of stillness, making wrinkles of trouble smooth out without Botox or any other kind of artificial filler. But in that case, would you have denied that this is not an experience you had wanted to dive deeper into, while time is running like the white sand, forcing its way down through the waste? Of the hourglass before it settles down? Forming an enormous heap of sand of all time in the world. Gigantic pile of sand, constantly growing throughout the course of time. while the winds of fantasy are whining like the worst ever desert storm, whirling up parts of the sand pile, causing almost every grain of sand to travel so far and so high that hot sunbeams repaint them yellowish before they land and cover huge territories on the surface of our earth. Like the Sahara Desert in Africa. Even if it may be more likely that it is the Gobi Desert in Mongolia. Or maybe not so likely, but more like a desert, only existing in a listener's head. But anyway, there, in the desert sand, there are visible footprints. Each footprint revealing only 2 toes. Camels, having no hoofs but bent nails protecting the front part of their feet. And by this, nails made their way into this hypnotic meditation again. Did you notice that? And with a camel's heavy body on top of every footprint, loading each one of them with around 300 to 690 kilos. Of course they are visible in the desert sand. There are hundreds of footprints. And over there, but getting closer to here, the camel caravan is a fact. Moving forward in a slow but steady pace, in their right environment, most likely feeling at home. Working camels, working for friendly ordinary people, where some of them are sitting on the camels' backs, between huge backpacks, which the camel carries proudly and with elegance. And thanks to international body language and friendly smiles, it's totally clear that you are invited to ride one of the camels. And such a generous offer is most welcome to your feet, as they would appreciate escaping the hot sand. The big animal bends down and bows right in front of you. And when you look in its face, it seems to smile at you. So with a feeling of safety and security, you climb up and also immediately find a relaxed position on the camel's back. The camel caravan starts moving forward again. But this time, you can observe from a higher position, seeing things from new perspectives. The sun is in zenith now, shining from straight above, so the shadows from the animals are almost by their feet. The heat is quite obvious now, and there is nowhere to escape it. But your body copes with it surprisingly well by just sweating a little. And even if camels are good at managing heat, they too are capable of sweating. Start doing that at 41 degrees. Right in this moment now, both people and animals are longing for water and coolness. With the exception of some small creatures on the ground. As the heat of the days and coolness of the nights is something that they have adjusted to, even if water is scarce. And a sudden flashback brings you back to the water tap in your own kitchen, where you easily fill a glass of water several times a day, all year round. And just as sudden, you're present on the back of the camel again, all in just a fraction of one tiny second. But thoughts travel faster than light. Traveling on. Gazing higher. Discovering a gorgeous mirage a little closer than by the horizon. Silhouettes of palm trees and lush green vegetation diverge from the monotonous desert environment. Heading for the mirage now. Caravan amble away, and the large animals walk and walk and walk and walk. Eventually passing by large white tents, which seem to be a Bedouin camp, where the Bedouins' camels and horses interact with their people, engaging in their daily chores. These proud Bedouins belong to the Beni Hassan tribe, revealing now we are in Africa. And it doesn't take long before the Bedouin camp is aft the caravan. And still ahead, the green and lush mirage seem getting closer and closer. But is this for real or... Here and there, huge cactuses are growing, and in between their enormous needles, fantastic flowers are blooming. while some of them already are in their fruit phase. But both flowers and fruits are attracting nectar-seeking colorful butterflies and birds with long, slender beaks. Down on the ground, the yellow sand seems much paler than before, actually getting whiter and whiter with each step, linking to a feeling that is different but interesting and very nice. But you might not have figured out how and why quite yet. The smells of warm camels blends with smells from hot sand and low-growing vegetation, and from people's feet too, for sure. And behind the caravan, towards the horizon, the air is vibrating of heat, and hot winds are felt in the back. But from ahead, there are sudden gusts of winds that are definitely cooler, definitely refreshing. And salty scents are now being perceived with every in-breath by both animal and human noses. Salty scents, a refreshing breeze in the face, and contrasting hot desert winds in the back. This is the border to the mirage, the one you were heading for, and on your way into now. And inside the mirage, remarkable changes are starting to occur. Both exterior and interior changes. One of the visible changes can be observed on your camel's neck, where the short fur between the ears and down the neck and forehead starts to grow. The face is changing. The feet with the 2 toes are being modified. The humps are shrinking. And little by little transforming into a comfortable leather saddle. And when you look at all the other camels in the caravan, they have also gone through the same changes, turning each of them into a beautiful horse in different horse colors. And suddenly, you're all young, happy, free and liberated. Riding your horses, heading for the beach, in the middle of a surrealistic mirage, after a long journey over a nearly endless desert. Some horses are trotting, others are galloping, but all of them are slowing down and stopping gently right by the waterside. And by some unexplainable impulse, your head turns to look slightly backwards. And there, in a silver blue shimmering fog, is an incredibly noble horse. Chalk white, and with a mane so long it almost reaches to the ground it's standing on. And when it turns its beautifully shaped head towards you, it stands totally clear that on its forehead is a long cone-shaped spiraling horn, a stunning beauty making your heart pound faster, feeling every beat of your heart. And in the precise moment you make eye contact, you lose yourself in the most wonderful daydream for a while, and no one can ever tell how long it lasted, because time seemed to stop. Keeping this as your secret memory, you're ready for a time of play and cooling down. And by the waterfront, all horses walk willingly into the crystal clear, clean water. A water glittering in fantastic watercolors. From the horseback, it's possible to see all the way down to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 meters down, to a more relaxed state than ever. And amazingly, the hoofs way down there are still walking on the bottom of the sea, walking steadily in every depth, because all horses have telescope legs and are therefore capable of automatically stretching to at least hundreds of meters when needed. Yes, of course, even the impossible is possible, being in this mirage. The warmth from the big animal radiates security, contrasting to the temperature of the seawater, splashing up on your legs, caused by the waves of fun and games. It's so refreshing. And on the bottom of the sea, deep down under the surface, a couple of crabs are escaping a hiding place under a small rock. running in their characteristic crabby way towards a larger rock covered with oyster shells and sea tulips. One of the crabs had one big claw and one small, and one may wonder why, but somebody surely knows. And you might even have a theory of your own. On a flat sunny place on the bottom of the sea, right next to your horse's front left hoof, a small pile of sand is starting to build up naturally, but growing unnaturally, like a bridge of experiences between different fragments of time, intermingling with thoughts, memories, feelings and fantasies. And while your body has moved to a complete rest between recently and now, or slightly dislocated time-wise, a feeling of inner peace may have, in a rather strange way, attached to some or all parts of you. Somewhere halfway between you and the horizon over there, maybe not being the only reality in this mirage. As horses, camels and people are settling down to rest in their tents, sofas, beds, or on the grass, recovering after a long journey. But strangely, but even in a mirage, this recovery process is 100% real and true. Also adding another positive feature to the everyday life, where you will find yourself quite soon, even if right now you are somewhere far away or close by, or how it ought to be expressed. But one can state that you have achieved your aim to rest, or at least reach an important goal of letting go of something you didn't need. Because after all these interesting experiences, a deep rest is something you have deserved. And after a special voice is completely quiet quite soon, you can decide for yourself whether you want to drift into another mirage, stay in this one, or snap your fingers and kind of wake up from this dream state to continue with something of greater importance, or less. And while the music is playing for another 3 minutes, and the sand in your time glass confirms that you have plenty of sand left to prepare for your choices, the voice says, "Thank you for now."